The café's door slammed open with the force of the storm outside. Wind rushed in, rattling the glasses on the shelves. A man in a tailored black suit strode in, every step echoing against the wooden floor like a warning. His presence sucked the warmth out of the room. Customers whispered, "Who was he?" His gold watch alone could have paid the waitress's rent for a year. He chose table 9, dropped his briefcase on the chair beside him, and barked an order without looking up. His German words cut the air sharp and cold, laced with disdain. Most people didn't understand, but Anna did. She stopped dead, her heart thudding. He wasn't just insulting her service, he was insulting her existence. Words like "worthless" and "below me" spilled from his mouth as though she were invisible. But Anna had a secret. One nobody in the café knew. Her hand tightened around the tray until her knuckles turned white. She set it down, leaned closer, and in flawless German whispered words that made the millionaire's face drain of color. The room went silent. Forks paused mid-air. The storm outside roared louder, but inside, the man who had built empires sat frozen, paralyzed by the waitress he had just mocked. Anna was 26, but life had carved deeper lines into her face than her age deserved. Her father had been a professor of linguistics, passionate about teaching her languages from childhood. German was her father's favorite, and every night he would read her fairy tales in that language. But tragedy struck early. Her father died in a car accident when Anna was just 12. Her mother worked 2 jobs, barely surviving, and Anna left college to support her family. She became a waitress, not because she lacked ambition, but because survival doesn't wait for dreams. Yet she carried with her the knowledge her father gave her, hidden like a secret flame. Most customers never knew the depth in Anna's quiet eyes. She worked silently, serving coffee with a gentle smile, saving every dollar to take care of her younger brother, who was in medical school. Her world was fragile, but her spirit unbroken. The man at table 9 was Richard Weber, a millionaire CEO whose name commanded respect in financial circles. But respect wasn't enough for him, he demanded fear. He had grown up poor in Germany, mocked for his accent when his family migrated to the US. That pain turned into ambition, and ambition into arrogance. Richard built an empire of hotels and luxury chains, but somewhere along the way, he lost touch with humanity. His wealth became his shield, and insults his weapon. He believed kindness was weakness, and weakness was death. That night, when he muttered in German, calling Anna a useless servant, not worth even a coin, he was echoing the cruelty once thrown at him. He didn't know that fate had seated him across from someone who could break through his armor. When Anna replied in German, her voice didn't tremble. "Maybe I am a waitress. But don't mistake humility for worthlessness. My father taught me this language before he died. Every word reminds me of the man who believed in kindness, not cruelty. And tonight, you remind me of everything he warned me never to become." Richard froze. His fork clattered onto the plate. No one had ever spoken to him like that, not in his own language, not with such piercing calm. For a moment, the storm inside him felt louder than the one outside. The café's customers stared. Anna stood tall, her apron stained, her hair damp from rushing in during the rain, yet in that moment she seemed stronger than the millionaire in his tailored suit. Richard's lips parted, but no words came. For the rest of the night, Richard stayed unusually quiet. He watched Anna move from table to table, smiling at children, comforting an old man who spilled his tea, handing a free cookie to a homeless woman who had wandered in. Something cracked in him. Memories of his own mother, who had once worked as a cleaner, came rushing back. He remembered the night she cried because she couldn't pay for groceries. He remembered the shame of being called, "poor immigrant boy." And yet, here he was, hurling the same pain onto someone else. His chest tightened. For the first time in decades, Richard felt small. When Anna brought his bill, she placed it gently on the table without a word. He looked at her hand, calloused, tired, but steady. And then he noticed the small notebook tucked into her apron. A page peeked out, filled with German words and English translations. She was still learning, still fighting to hold on to her father's legacy. Richard couldn't move. He reached into his wallet, pulled out a black card, and then stopped. Instead, he asked softly, "What do you dream of?" Anna blinked, confused. "Excuse me? Your dream? This can't be it. What is it you really want?" His voice cracked, surprising even himself. She hesitated, then whispered, "To finish college. To make my brother a doctor. To prove my father didn't teach me for nothing." Something in Richard's eyes shifted. The arrogance was gone. The next morning, Anna walked into the café, expecting another long shift. But instead, the owner handed her an envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a check, large enough to cover her tuition, her brother's expenses, and more. There was a note attached. "For the waitress who spoke the truth in a language I thought no one understood. You reminded me of who I once was, and who I must never become again. R.W." Anna's knees nearly buckled. Tears filled her eyes, not because of the money, but because of the transformation it represented. She hadn't just stood up to a millionaire. She had awakened the humanity buried inside him. Months later, Richard returned to the café. But this time, he wasn't in a suit. He wore a simple shirt, no flashy watch. He waited quietly until Anna approached. "How is school?" he asked softly. Anna smiled, the kind of smile that held both gratitude and forgiveness. "It's possible now. Thanks to you." Richard nodded, humbled. "No. Thanks to you. You reminded me that wealth without kindness is poverty." The café around them buzzed, but in that small moment, something eternal lingered. A millionaire had been humbled, a waitress had been uplifted, and humanity had been restored. Anna graduated years later, her brother became a doctor, and Richard quietly funded scholarships for students who had once been like him, poor, invisible, voiceless. He never forgot the stormy night when a young waitress in a small café looked him in the eye and, with words of courage, left him paralyzed, not with fear, but with realization. Because sometimes, the most powerful language in the world isn't German or English. It's kindness. Ending message for audience. Wealth can build walls, but kindness builds bridges. The world doesn't change through insults or arrogance, it changes when even the smallest voices dare to speak the truth with compassion.